and thank you for joining us on our latest installment of the Owls and Virtual Flight Conversation Series, where we discuss matters relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Jana Brady, a geography lecturer at Southern Connecticut State University, and I have partnered with Southern's Office of International Education to present this series. I'm really excited today to talk about one of my favorite things. We've previously touched on how celebrations have were impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And this pandemic has dragged on probably further than any of us have ever expected. And as that happens, we're kind of seeing all of these different celebrations and rites of passage and things that really mark the season for us are being changed and disrupted, perhaps made better in some ways. So in today's conversation, I would love to hear about the various cultural celebrations or traditions that might mark out the passage of time in your country. How do you know that, oh, this feels like summer? What are these summery things that we do, or these fall things that we do? How are you expecting them to change? And really how you guys feel about that. So, Neus, can you share with us some traditions in Spain?
Yeah, I can start, yeah. Okay, so the summer this year has been a little bit different because all related to the pandemic, and some of the festivals or things that we used to do are not happening anymore. For example, for me, the worst part are the towns festivals from the villages, because you get like 1 week from every village to do parties, festivals, you go out. There are some theaters on the streets and things like that, and it's really cool, and it won't happen this year, but we hope that next year will happen. And then also, for example, discos are opened, and I'm like a bit frustrated because it's like festivals in villages not, but then discos yes, so it's complicated. But yeah, the discos are open, are different. You just can be with your group of friends, a small group in tables, and dancing in your tables. You cannot move around. Then another thing that you can do in summer is going to the beach. We're allowed to go to the beach, but the only problem is that you have to wear the mask to go to the beach. But then when you are on the sand, you can take it off, and then in the water the same. And then what else? Let me think. For example, with your friends, we are doing more things this summer. It's like we are doing trips to the mountains, or maybe we go to the beach, or we go to a restaurant. It's like we are thinking extra plans because we have no festivals, no parties, no big meetings. So we are doing like small group plans. And I think that this is fun also because it's a new way to see the summer, and it's a different summer, but it's not a horrible summer. I am enjoying it. What do you think, or in Armenia, what is happening at the moment?
Yeah, thank you, Neus. So actually, one of the greatest holidays and celebrations that we have is also in summer, and it is called Vartavar. So basically what people do is that they all come out and then they splash water on each other. And like, as you can see, it's like a super COVID provoking celebration. That's why it was really like dangerous for this year. And we didn't know how it's going to be because there are a lot of restrictions. But at the same time, we couldn't skip the holiday because it's happening every year. And we didn't know how it's going to be. And this year, of course, it was different. It was last Sunday, and because the government put a lot of restrictions, people were not allowed to be in like crowd, to do a crowd, like they shouldn't be in the crowded areas. So they said like you can do like small celebrations in your neighborhood, like playing with your I don't know, family members, neighbors, in like not in a big crowded places, but like do small celebrations. So it was really pity that we missed that whole big celebration. For the upcoming things, there are usually a lot of concerts and big events on fall coming, because we have the Independence Day, we have a lot of other things that we usually celebrate, and I really don't imagine our I don't know, future without those events. Of course, there will be probably some online concerts, but I mean, it's not the same, of course. And I just think that there is one celebration that everyone is missing, no matter where we are. It's the graduation party. All the universities miss the graduation party. So, yeah. Of course, we like these cultural events are suffering a lot because of pandemic, but at the same time, what makes me happy is that they always find ways to kind of substitute them, do like online, or I don't know, probably not do the massive ways, but like doing small groups, like no one is forbidding you to do them. Just don't we should keep all the laws and rules so we are safe, but I mean, it's really pity that like I feel like all the countries have something sacrificing because of this. So yeah, anything else you would like to add?
Maria, how do you typically celebrate graduation in your countries? I think that'd be really interesting to hear as well. I know, a lot of times we maybe will barbecue or something like that, but I'm sure you have more thrilling ways to mark the occasion.
Especially like I'm from the American University of Armenia, and we have this American way of celebrating the graduation, like with the uniform and stuff. But even national universities, state universities, they also do them. Especially it's really beautiful for medical university because they have some a little bit different way of doing it, but all the universities do after parties, and yes, we have like good ways of celebrating and partying for the graduation. How is it in Spain?
Yeah, in Spain, I think it's similar. At the moment, they have postponed the graduation party. It's not cancelled, but they will see if next year somehow they can do it, because it's a big party and anyone wants to miss it, because it would be a pity. And I think it's similar as in Armenia. I mean, they don't wear like costumes or the American things, but they just go like with dresses or suits or things like that, and then they do a meeting with the teachers, parents, and all of that, and then they go to have dinner together, and then after party, and yeah, and it's a pity.
And for the future, do you have any kind of events or like big holidays that are coming for Spain and you can probably miss them because of pandemic?
I think that mostly are festivals and things like that. Well, or sports competitions, and maybe in Spain it's really typical the football matches. So now are like close to the public. They are playing, but it's like they are only released on TV. So these have also bad consequences, because some really fanatic people really go together, and then they go to bars or they go partying and things like that, and the government is like, please stop doing partying for football because we will have time after, and yeah, things like that. But I don't think we have, well, not in my region. In Spain, it's a big country, so in every region they celebrate a different thing. But at the moment in my region, it was just festivals or things like that.
Yeah. You know what I also came up with, that the new year is actually being to be different, because, for example, in Armenia last year, like when we were celebrating 2020, there was this thing that we could all go to the Republic Square, and even people from different regions were taking buses and come to the Republic Square.
Oh, yeah.
Central area. So we were celebrating New Year all together, and it was like kind of national unity, like doing something together and having all the celebrities and great singers performing in the biggest area of Yerevan. But now I feel like this year it's going to be all online, and people can celebrate New Year only with their families. Or
and what do you often do to celebrate New Year? Like what?
Yeah, honestly, I usually celebrate it with my family, because it's kind of family holiday for us. But I mean, I was hoping that I can do that next year, to go to this square with everyone, but definitely not for this year. What about you? Do you have like big celebration of New Year?
Yeah, for example, there are people who go to Madrid, the capital, because there is a square where you, for example, here in Spain, you eat 12 grapes. It's like you put the clock, and then 12 seconds before the New Year comes, the bells ring, and each ring is one grape, and then when you finish, it's like, oh, Happy New Year, and everyone is happy and all of that. I don't know if we will be allowed to do this. Not, we hope so, because all of my friends are like, okay, no parties now, but we're hoping to do like New Year, because it's like a big festivity. But if we are not allowed to go somewhere, we will stay in our village, and we will maybe go to a friend's house and have dinner and do the same, because you eat the grapes like in every house, but in the square it's like more popular or whatever.
What do you think these cultural traditions and these festivals represent? If you think about, for us, like Easter, it's a holiday, it's a religious holiday, but there's also themes of renewal and kind of rebirth, and things are growing and developing at that time. It's early in the spring season. We also have something like Thanksgiving, which is kind of speaks to bountifulness and prosperity and community coming over, eating and sharing in our good harvest. You know, what do you think these festivals that you guys are talking about? I'm particularly interested in hearing about Verano. Is that what it was? What the symbolism of throwing water at each other is, you know? How do you think these sort of developed, and are you able to replicate the core idea of these festivals and celebrations in a COVID-19 world?
Can I start?
Yeah, you can go.
So, saying about Vartavar, actually, this tradition is kind of religious, and it comes from a very long time ago. But right now, I don't think that people are keeping the main idea of it. Like, it's more of fun. They just splash water to, because it's hot outside. They just want to have some fun and get rid of this hot weather. But I think that it became a really something that were uniting everyone for one day in Yerevan or in other city, because for each year they choose different city for this celebration, and it was something that was uniting everyone. And for now, this year it was kind of sad that we didn't have that big celebration of it, so we were just keeping small ones.
But could you do like the celebration with small groups or not? It's not popular to do it like.
Yeah, actually, it's not really popular to do in small groups, like in your neighborhoods, because generally people go to like bigger areas where everyone can gather. But still, it was, we were not losing it at all. So we still had it. We could still have some fun and, I don't know, kind of implement new methods to this holiday. So, yeah. What about you? What can you say?
Well, as Jana has said, the tradition to eat grapes is not religious. I think that my father told me once, I'm not really sure, but that they started doing it because the grapes were like getting bad. They were like going to throw them away, so they thought, okay, what can we do with a lot of grapes? And they said, okay, let's do this. But I don't know, and then other festivities, well, Easter is religious, and then Christmas, and festivals mostly.
Yeah, I really think that all this situation is affecting to the way we have the cultural development, because I was feeling like each year and new generations were coming and trying to implement new things to the ways we are celebrating things. It was really interesting because like last year for the same celebration of Vartavar, they decided to go to like completely different city that we never did, and they brought these big cars that were splashing waters in the streets, and they used it for splashing water on people, and it turned into a bigger celebration that we never had before. And maybe if we could do that this year without pandemic, we could have something even bigger, even like more creative. So yeah.
Well, and then another celebration that it's near my area that caused a lot of drama because it was cancelled. It was at the beginning of the pandemic in Valencia, a region nearby. They celebrate a thing called Las Fallas, which they built some monuments. They are, for example, things or drawings but big ones, and they put fire to the monuments one day, and it's like a bonfire, and it was cancelled, so the people was really sad, and they thought it was going to be postponed, but I don't know if in the end it will happen or not, because now it's really hot and they cannot make just bonfires in the streets because it's summer. So.
But does it have a significance, like national significance for everyone, and what it is? Why is it that important for everyone?
They just leave it. I mean, if you are from Valencia, you leave it. For example, I don't leave it. I just like to go and see it because it's nice. But I don't know, for some people, they leave it a lot, and it's like, okay, the fallas, we love it, it's our tradition, and they just do it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any celebrations or maybe any holidays that were for older people, maybe they love to go there more because they have more connection to those holidays?
I think that the parties from the villages, that it's like more close. You just celebrate with your colleagues from the village, and it's from all ages. So I think that this represents to them more. Yeah. And you, do you have something to old people?
I was actually thinking about one event that we have. It's on April 24 when Armenians go to the genocide monument dedicated to the Armenian genocide in 1915. And this year, like each year, it's like a huge event because like people have one day to go there, and usually they have a lot of people there. So this year they couldn't make it, and what happened is that they had a live from that genocide monument, and only the prime minister could make it, and like people were just respecting it from their homes, but it was probably one of the events that all the people were dedicated to, and it meant it means a lot to us to go there on that special day, although we have that monument open and the museum open there always. But for April 24th, it's really important for everyone to go there. But unfortunately, we couldn't make it. I'm sure a lot of people did go there after some time when not that many people are there, and like put a flower and respecting all the victims. But yes, I can say that this one event has been really important in spring that we missed because of pandemic.
Hi, Danielle. Do you want to add something to the conversation? We are talking about festivities or things that we couldn't do because of the pandemic.
Yes. Okay. The first two things that come to mind for me, I mean, the biggest thing is like my whole family, all of our birthdays are from April to June. And so like birthdays, like I turned 21, and that was very different than it would have been if we were not in pandemic mode. And usually my family, everyone comes to my house. We have a big celebration. I'm like, I don't always do a separate thing. Like, my friends will come over, but like I'm very family oriented. So it was odd not to have everyone over. But we did some outside social distancing stuff, and like in America, I saw a bunch of videos of parents trying to make 21st birthdays cool, which like my family did, but wasn't as like all out. Some parents turned their garage into a club, and their dad was standing outside like a bouncer, and their mom was like mixing drinks or something.
Sorry, is it thing to celebrate the 21st birthday in USA?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because that's when we can finally drink, which when I was in Spain, when I was in Spain,
in Spain it's 18, so
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so forgot to mention that. So it definitely has been very different. We compensated by seeing family in other ways, whether it was through video calls or social distant gatherings, and everyone could kind of give presents at that time and cards. And it was also so weird trying to get gifts for people because delivery was so delayed, and very interesting. And then the other thing that I was thinking of is the 4th of July, Independence Day for us. And it was interesting because, I'm not a huge, like, party person when it comes to the 4th of July. It's, like, yay, cool, but not my most favorite thing in the world. And, we were down at my boyfriend's boat, and every town canceled their, like, fireworks show. And that meant that, like, all the individual people were like, okay, we need to do fireworks, and they like there were just so many fireworks displays like I've never seen. So in some ways, I saw more fireworks than I've ever seen on the 4th of July, which is that big like marker of the celebration. And in other ways, it was also very different because there was no big cookout with a bunch of family, and it's definitely different, but I like how we've adapted. I don't feel like I was cheated of any of my holidays, really, if that makes sense. But yeah,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I have heard about Coachella event. Do you have it every year, or like is there any ways you're not doing that this year?
Sorry, what
Yeah.
is Coachella?
Coachella
Yeah.
is a big music festival.
Okay.
It does happen every year. I myself would be terrified to go because it is out of control.
Okay.
And I like, there were some celebrities being not cool about it being canceled, which was pretty gross in my opinion. It's like a pandemic. You can go without your music festival for 1 year. But yeah, it's just like if Coachella happened, you would have major infection. There's no way that like even if they tried to do it socially distant, there would be people not wearing masks. There would be people like, and there's like food and everyone camps out and they spend however, I think it's like maybe a weekend or a week or something where like people are camping in tents at the place and going to watch concerts.
But what about concerts overall? Like both in America and in Spain, do you guys have minor concerts? So can people enjoy music outside?
Yeah, so there's been like small concerts kind of in my hometown, like, they have a beach that they can go to, and that was actually a big topic of debate in like June because people took pictures of everyone at the concert and they were like, people aren't being socially distant enough. And like, to be clear, the beach in my hometown is not that big. We're on the shoreline, but we don't have like the best beaches in the world. And my hometown is also pretty small. So it wasn't like thousands of people, but it was probably like, I don't know, 100 people, and they were pretty close. So that like now everything is canceled. So I don't know, but concerts are also huge here during the summer. We have a venue that's like outside, so all of high school and college kids love to go sit out in the fields and hang out. So that is very different. But what about you guys?
Well, in Spain, we're allowed to do some small concerts, but people have to be sitting down. They are not allowed to be dancing or things like that. So it's like you have your chair, you have your mask, you go, you sit down, you see the concert, maybe a pop or rock concert, but you are sitting down just like this. And then when it's finished, you go home and yeah, that's it. And then we also are allowed to do like orchestra concerts or things like that, or go to cinemas, theaters, because you have your chair, your number, and they know that you will go there and you won't move. And if you move or you do something illegally, security throws you away. Yeah. But then it's like what I said before. In the discos, I mean, you have your seats also, but then outside the disco, it's pretty hard to control this because it's not the disco. You don't have seats. If people go outside, they speak, haha, blah blah, and yeah, it's hard. And you, Maria?
Yes, so here we have some minor concerts. They are not really advertised, so not many people know about it. So if you're lucky, you can go to open air restaurants. You can sit, and suddenly there's a concert. Yeah. So if you're lucky, you will enjoy concert. They don't say like, okay, you should sit. Like if it's a rock or pop concert, don't move and like. But they should wear a mask, and if you're lucky, you will have a concert. I have actually one more question to Neus. So in Spain, I know two celebrations that that I know. So the first one, I don't remember the name. It's the one that people come together and there is a bull coming to them and they should run. And there's a thing, if the bull hits you, you're lucky. Or am I right? Are you celebrating that this year?
I don't know what. Can you repeat?
The running of the bulls.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, it was cancelled. It was the 7th of July. And yeah, there is a street. All the bull parties are cancelled also. There is a street and they a truck with the bulls, and then they just go over the street running, and the people is running like with them. But for me, it's scary. It's scaring. I won't be there because lots of people come like from Germany or France or things like that to run over the bulls. But I don't know. Yeah, this was cancelled also.
And the other one, when people throw tomatoes on each other, it's like
okay,
requiring
I didn't know to talk about these things because maybe you didn't know and you thought, okay, what is she saying? But yeah, it was also cancelled. That one is a bit disgusting because it's like they throw lots of tomatoes into trucks, and then it's like a war of tomatoes, and you are all full of tomato sauce, and I don't know. Well, it's funny, but at the end, the tomatoes are bad tomatoes that they went out like from supermarkets or things like that. So some of them smell bad or things like that. But there is people who wear glasses, snorkel glasses and things like that.
Goggles,
just to, because it gets like acid into your eyes because the tomato. But yeah, it's fun. But I haven't ever been. I would like, but I don't know. It's near my town, I think. Well, 1 hour and a half or things like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know that you knew about these things.
We learned about them in high school. I don't know about you, Maria, but like, yeah, running of the bulls, I think everyone already knew. But what's the name of the tomato festival?
La Tomatina.
That's what I was. Yeah, La Tomatina was like a whole subject in my Spanish class, and so
really,
doesn't it start with like there's a pole covered in soap and a ham at the top, and someone has to climb the pole? Is that? That's what.
No, this is a Spanish one also.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if
I haven't heard. Can you repeat maybe or explain it a little bit because I don't know.
Yes. So it's you know how jabón y jamón are very similar, and so like that's why I remembered it. But like I guess there's a pole that is all slippery from them covering it in soap, and then the festival doesn't start until someone can climb the pole to get el jamón at the top of the pole.
Oh, but yeah, it was more a TV show. with and it was a TV show with some things and some chapters, and one was to go get the ham, and then the one who was the quicker one. I think it's that one, right?
That's amazing.
Well,
I don't know
how do you know all of that? I'm like, I don't know.
I have no clue. Well, I spent a month in Spain for my study abroad in Salamanca.
Salamanca.
Yeah, so I learned a bit there, but honestly, in high school, I learned a lot about Spain as well. And in college too, like it's not just teaching you the language, like they try to teach the culture. And so they have you speak the language, like practice speaking the language in the context of the culture, like reading stuff about different places that speak Spanish. So yeah.
So can you speak Spanish? I mean,
yes, I like puedo, pero no es mejor.
Okay.
Sí. Yeah. Maria, do you know any other languages?
Yeah, I actually speak Russian, Ukrainian, Armenian, English, and I also started learning Spanish. I'm on my way. I'm on my way getting there. And I actually learned about these celebrations from a TV show. It was an Armenian TV show where we had two guys and people could write some messages to them saying that, can you go please, for example, to Spain and do this thing, or like go to this country and do their cultural celebration. And they were taking the challenges and they were going there. And it was really interesting to see, and I saw this on that show. And actually, I have one more question. So, what about Halloween? What are you going to do with Halloween this year?
Oh yeah. Well, my region is not very popular because after Halloween, the 1st of November, we celebrate. It's like in Mexico, the day of the people who has died. I don't know the name exactly.
Day of the Dead.
This thing. So Halloween has come now because it's like popular among globalization and TV shows, but we just go and do some party, or maybe children go and ask for candies and things like that, but it's not really popular. We are starting now celebrating it because everyone does, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's huge in the US, and
yes, I know.
Yeah, unfortunately what I see happen most is everyone will go to the center of my town to trick or treat, but if they just went to my neighborhood where all of the neighbors have tons of candy and they're just waiting for someone to come, they would get so much more candy. So I feel like it would be easier to do it in a socially distant manner. I don't think it would be very safe, partially because the people in the United States have not done a great job. They don't do well when authority tells them to do stuff. It's ridiculous. And obviously having kids are just they spread germs so easily. So having them.
Do you still go to trick or treat, or is just a childish thing?
It's probably around the end of elementary school when you're yeah, that's kind of when you stop trick or treating, right before middle school when you get into your teens. And then after that, you just kind of go to parties, which the thing is too, I feel like parties have kind of resumed in the US, looking at my peers, not myself, because I really don't want COVID at all. It just sounds terrible. So that, like bars have reopened, and that's like the number one place where you're gonna get it if everyone's drinking. And so I don't know. I can't imagine that people will not do Halloween in some type of way. And I don't think our president would want us to not do Halloween just because he's already fighting against any kind of so I don't know, but it's crazy because I feel like every month things are entirely different than the last month, just in terms of how we are thinking about the virus, whether we're more relaxed about it or whether we're completely freaked out by it. But yeah, and in terms of trying to think of holidays, like, I mean, Thanksgiving for us, that's a big feast, like everyone gets together. That'll be very different too, especially because universities had said that we would, which like I don't know, everything's constantly changing, but said that we would be like possibly on campus until Thanksgiving and then be back kind of in like quarantine and online classes. So it'll probably be like a bunch of very individual Thanksgivings.
But isn't Thanksgiving kind of a family celebration? Or you also do like, you don't need a lot of people to come together.
You can celebrate it, right? Because if it's a small
Yes. So generally it's a family celebration, but with like your extended family too. Oh my gosh, my dogs are like all the animals today. My cat was walking in front of me. My dog's like jumping on my chair. So normally it's with your extended family too. So like we usually go over to Long Island in New York and spend time with my family there because we don't see them as much. And it's very like it's definitely fine to do it with just your own family, but it's also very different because like you make a big turkey and all the side dishes, and it's meant to be a feast for a bunch of people rather than like just like my family, there's 5 people, which is like a good amount, but if there's only 2 people in a family or something like that, it's very different.
And then Black Friday, do you celebrate it or not?
I don't. I'm a boring American. Like all of the things we've mentioned, like I don't usually go all out for. But Black Friday, I just like, it gets scary. People will trample each other. People like, there is no reason to go shopping when you should be with your family, because like Black Friday will start pretty much on Thanksgiving. And so people will leave their family dinners to go shopping. And I'm like, this is not what the holiday is about. We're meant to be spending time with our families, and now you're ditching them to go get a good deal. And the thing is, we also do Cyber Monday, which is every like website does deals that Monday. So you're not trying to shop while you're with your family, and you can just do it online, so there's not huge crowds. I think that's way better than Black Friday.
Yeah, I think this year it's going to be like that. Like after Thanksgiving, everyone is going to take their devices and do like online shopping for the Black Friday.
Yeah, and it's so sad. So I won't be doing that by any means. Like if I need a Christmas gift, I will buy it full price if I need to.
And do you have more like celebrations that
I mean, Christmas is a big one. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, I'm trying to think. We don't have a ton of stuff in the summer other than, people just love to be out and having fun together. But we do Christmas, and we also, this is kind of only my family, I think, but we celebrate the solstices. So like summer solstice and winter solstice, which it started when I was a child, like very young. We would celebrate the winter solstice because it's the shortest, darkest day of the year. So like what better time to have family and friends over. And, that will be very different too, because we can't do a regular party. And then we didn't do anything for the summer solstice, which we've only just started to try and do. But that's basically like our Christmas party for our friends, and like some of our other family. And then once it gets to Christmas, I am like so busy from Christmas to New Year with just like only being with my family. Like I would love to see my friends at that time because we're all home, but we are just constantly with family, usually at my grandparents' house. And that'll be very different too, because none of us want to get them sick. And we're taking as many precautions as we can. We've been getting groceries for them. So who knows? And like getting gifts too is very different because we can't really, I mean, we can go in stores, but my family is very like, if there's anything we can do without going into a store, we're gonna do it. So we don't even go into grocery stores. We just order them and pick them up at the store. But yeah, what about Maria? I totally missed like your celebrations. I don't know if there were any more that you can think of.
I actually already told about one of them. It's like splashing water on each other. And it was this like last Sunday, and usually it's like a huge event, and this year we were doing it in small groups because of pandemic, and like many people did it only with their family, in their houses. But like each year it's a huge event, and they go to different cities, like they choose a city where everyone goes. And because Armenia is not really big, they can easily manage it and do it. I don't know, I think for summer we don't really have a lot of events, but for fall we usually have a lot of concerts, festivals, wine festival, dolma festival. Dolma is an Armenian. It's like grape leaf, and there is meat wrapped, like it's wrapped in a meat. So this is like a huge celebration of this, our national cuisine. I think we're gonna skip this also for this year, and we're just gonna eat that in our houses. No need to do a huge celebration. Maybe there will be something online, or I don't know. Recently, apricot became famous, so we have Armenian apricot. It's going all over the world. We also have like apricots all over the place, but again, people are just doing all these food celebration. We have watermelon celebration and like everything. So any fruit and vegetable that appears, we have a celebration. But this year, nothing. We just keep it to ourselves.
Cool. We love food celebrations, and that actually reminded me fairs in our, like, especially, I live in the Northeast. Pretty much the whole country loves their fairs. Like, you got like all the rides, all the food, and that is big in like the end of summer, beginning of the school year. Like all of those fall activities that is a classic reminder of, school's starting and fall's coming. And that's like, we have the Guilford Fair in my town. And that's a huge event that not only is something that everyone enjoys, but it's also something that makes a lot of money for like organizations, not that are nonprofit. They like are doing charity events like this just to earn money. And that has happened with a number of events, starting since the pandemic, since quarantine started. There's so many organizations that rely on big parties or celebrations or something like that. They can't make the money. They might not even be able to sustain themselves through COVID. because they can't do a fundraiser. So hopefully they continue to exist because charity is really important.
Yes, in Spain, sometimes it's big city, they organize like a run race, and a lot of people go and they like pay maybe €5 or 10 to charity and just to participate, and they run. But this year the runnings were cancelled. So they try to make up something different, and they try to do a race like inside their houses. So there were people like running over their floors or over the kitchen, bedrooms, and yeah, that was fun. And they tried to raise like a little bit of money because they couldn't do like the big events. So it was something different, but at the end they could do it.
Yeah, I was actually planning to run a half marathon, so 13 miles. And like, honestly, I was kind of grateful when quarantine rolled around because my body was falling apart. My legs, like, you know, I had shin splints and plantar fasciitis, which basically just means my legs were shot. So I was kind of glad that I didn't end up running that race.
I don't think I would be able to run a half marathon. I would be like dead after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I love running, but I don't think I could do it for that. It was just so much stress on my body.
Oh, I tried that last year. Oh my God, no, definitely not for me. We chose the shortest distance. Like I just realized I better go to food festival. No, for me.
Same.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of anything else, like,
yeah, me too.
You know, concerts, fairs.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. Yeah, so it's so interesting because it feels like your year is being fulfilled with these events, and these are some celebrations that actually make us happy, and I don't know, make us feel part of our culture, part of, I don't know, something bigger. For example, Halloween is not part of our culture. I'm sure a lot of Armenians don't even know what Halloween is. But for my university, because I'm in American University of Armenia, we try to implement this in our university culture, and it turned out to be something bigger. Like, although we don't have it at all, like no one knows what it is, now people started even just partying, without even knowing the reason why all these things are happening. They just party because they know that somewhere there in America they have Halloween, and this is the reason why we can also do that, And like pumpkin carving, all these small things make us kind of feel part of different cultures, and it's usually very interesting to do all these things. And this year it kind of feels different because you understand that you are getting used to the fact that here are the restrictions, and you should try to kind of adapt to the situation you have, and also find the happiness in that situation. That's so interesting, and I really loved talking about this and realizing that despite all the restrictions, we still enjoy it, we still celebrate it at some ways.
And then, Maria, in your university, for example, it's the American university, but do you have also the Armenian festivals there? It's like a mixed, or it's only American?
That's so interesting. We are trying to combine both. And for example, in America, they have, you guys have the holidays for Thanksgiving, right? And we have the holidays here. And then when we have the holidays for Armenian holidays, we have the Armenian holidays as well. So we're kind of benefiting from two cultures and kind of trying to celebrate two cultures. And like we have a lot of international students, and it's really interesting for them to see how American celebrations are happening here. And like we have the Kochari Day. Kochari is Armenian dance, and we can come together and do the Armenian dance. And then we have another event. It's Terendes. Terendes is for those who are just married, and if they married, for example, that year on February, people do a bonfire and they jump over the fire. And this year we implemented this into our university life, although we didn't have people who were just married, like one particular couple, we kind of tried to bring this Armenian event into university life, and all the students came. Like on February, we didn't have the pandemic yet, and we could celebrate. We did it well. We came together and jumped over the fire, and it was really interesting that we combined Armenian culture and American.
That's awesome. I can only imagine like the liability that Southern would be worried about with students jumping over a bonfire. It sounds like lots of fun. And then that actually reminded me, what have people in your countries been doing about weddings? Like, I know in the US they've been doing all kinds of, like, I know two of my friends, they just went down by the water. They were in regular clothes and they got married. Like, they were not. What about you guys?
Neus, you want to start?
Okay, yeah, I can talk. In Spain, weddings and communions, they were like cancelled during the pandemic. Now it is starting again to go into weddings, but with a reduced number of attending people. So it's like you can go to a wedding, but maybe it's 20 people wedding. So some people, what is doing is waiting until next year or things like that to celebrating with more family, more friends, because it's like a pity just saying, okay, you can come, you can. But there are others who are celebrating the weddings because they say, okay, only 20 people. So it is cheaper. I can do the wedding, and then after I will do another celebration with my friends, and now I just celebrated with family, for example.
In Armenia, they do like huge weddings usually. Like when we say wedding, we imagine 300, 700 people. It's like a must. Wow. Yeah, like no matter how big is your family, they usually invite all their relatives, friends, and even people they don't know. I have been sometimes to the weddings where I had no clue who these people are. They just invited me somehow. And when the pandemic happened, actually it started from a wedding. So there was one woman, we didn't have coronavirus at all, and there was this one woman infected, and it started from one single wedding, it was enough. Yeah. So after that, at some point, people stopped doing weddings. There had been some cases of doing weddings online, like in Zoom. Have you seen them?
Yeah.
Wow. And yeah, now I see people going to church, doing weddings, as you said, 20, 30 people maximum, because that's so dangerous. Like even I guess if you even invite people, a lot of people wouldn't just appear because it's extremely dangerous in that environment, especially when people drink. You can say, please wear a mask and keep social distance, you know?
Yeah. I think the eating and drinking, like at restaurants and stuff, you know, we still haven't been to a restaurant. And now people are allowed to eat inside.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like you can't wear a mask. And then I feel bad for the servers who they're wearing their masks, but everyone around them is not. And so it only gives you so much protection to be wearing your own mask. But in terms of weddings, I've seen people get really creative. I'm assuming this was in America. Sometimes I see stuff online and I have no idea where it came from, which country it was in. But they put like all of the guests' faces in the pews of the church, like I think kind of little circles of their like pictures of their faces. And personally, that's kind of, it would looked a little creepy to me. But you know, people will do all kinds of objects in the audience. I know this one, there was like an orchestra or something where they put a bunch of plants in the theater. Don't remember where that one was either. But you know, creative ways of doing that. And to be honest, I don't really know what people are doing now. But you know, two of my family friends, they're getting married and they're planning on 2021. And I'm just like hoping that things are, you know, back to normal or different, that we have, why can't I think of the word? An immunization, like the shot they give you, a vaccine, duh. They're looking, yeah, hopefully we have a vaccine by then, and things can be pretty back to normal. But like, you know, if you look at the Spanish flu, which actually it did not originate in Spain, in case you're wondering, it originated in the United States, and we named it the Spanish flu. So dumb. But that lasted like, I think 2 or 3 years. So, you know, it's going to be different for a while. And then I was also wondering, do you guys normally go on vacations in the summer and like do stuff with your family, or?
Maria?
Yeah, so actually, because in summer we usually like to go abroad because we don't have sea, we don't have ocean.
Yeah.
We have a small lake in Armenia. Actually, Armenians call the lake sea. We say Sevan Sea, but it's actually a lake. We're just trying to imagine it's a sea, you know. We go there. And we have a lot of places like mountains. We can go to nature. Yeah, we sometimes do that with family, with friends, rarely. But of course, it doesn't look like we did it before. Like a full summer vacation, you don't feel that for sure.
Yeah.
It feels like a weekend, you know. What about you, Neus?
Well, I have the beach like 10 minutes far from my house. So we don't go to a place to find sunshine or things like that. So if we do a holiday with my parents, we try to go somewhere where we can walk or maybe see historical buildings or things like that, not just to relax. And then we try to go in May, the first week of May, because my mom has holidays and then my dad can take holidays also. And from university or school, we can get them also. So it's like a good month to travel because it's not very touristically, but we have a bit of sunshine. I don't know. We prefer to go in May than in summer. We prefer staying in the town in summer.
Yeah.
And you, Danielle?
Summer is so nice here that, like, you know, I usually don't want to travel all that much. But we have a family house in Cape Cod, which is in Massachusetts, so like right above us. And you know, it's like shared by my whole mom's side of the family. So we actually were able to go for 2 weeks these past 2 weeks. Like, we just got back on Monday. And you know, it's different because normally we'll have, like, my cousins will go up to a different house and we'll all hang out and just see a bunch of family and friends. And you know, we usually have a lot more options for where we can go to beaches and that kind of thing. But honestly, it was very nice, and like, I didn't feel as affected by the pandemic there because we did quarantine the whole time we were there, because, you know, if you're going to a different state, you don't want to be like going into stores and that kind of thing. So, you know, we'd get our groceries, we'd pick them up from the store, and then we would just go to the beach. We'd go out on the boat, and like, it was so easy to be socially distant, and, you know, like, not like, I feel like we were even safer while we were there than we were when we're in Connecticut. So that, like, I feel like that is the main traveling I do during the summer, is like those 2 weeks. And then other than that, it's just so nice because, like, we're on the water, we can take out the boat. The one reason that Cape Cod is way better is because the beaches are incredible. It's just like miles and miles and miles of beach after beach. Like, the whole Cape is just like one big beach, basically. And like, it looks like you're down on an island in the Caribbean or something, because the sand is like white, the water is perfect, like turquoise and blue. And so it was really nice to be able to do that still. And I'm very lucky that, you know, we have a place to go, and we were able to, like, disinfect everything in preparation for the next people to come. So yeah, but I'm so glad that I was able to go to Spain last summer rather than
yeah, because now I'm not sure you could come.
Definitely not. Like, the American citizens are, like, banned from a lot of countries right now. We're just not allowed to go.
Spanish citizens are banned also, so
Yep.
That won't last forever and ever. We'll be out there in the world again.
Exactly.
In addition to not being able to work or go to school in a traditional sense, we've also lost a lot of our cultural activities and other things that are important to our broader culture, or even our personal family culture, you know, and it's kind of been necessary because these activities are usually very social in nature. Some of them are personal, like birthdays or the way that we vacation with our family. Others are these absolutely huge, iconic celebrations like the running with the bulls and Tomatina, which, by the way, we first learned about on Road Rules about 3 decades before you were born. But in any event, so it's almost ironic that in this time we actually have the time to do these celebrations, right, for these events, but fate has conspired against us, and we aren't able to hold them in the way that we typically do each year. I think in some respects we're all experiencing a sense of loss from these disruptions to our cultural traditions. But at the same time, we're able to really reassess and reevaluate what aspects of holidays are really important to us. A lot of celebrations are meant to be opportunities for our families to reconnect. And not being able to be part of a larger group has forced us to bring celebrations back to, like, our immediate family unit, you know, for better or for worse. maybe we don't all want to spend a ton of time with our immediate family, but we're getting that opportunity now. So it's been really interesting hearing your perspective on what's important in your community and in your culture. I loved hearing about all of your traditions and your festivals. I am already dreaming of my future trips that I will build around these amazing experiences. So with that, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.